Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my Let's Play Diablo 3, leveling up a Crusader. And we're going with Leah to find her mom's house in the old ruins. And we're going to get a little background from Leah here in a moment.
Adria was my mother, but I don't know much about her. She died when I was very young. I was raised by Uncle Deckard. And your father? I'm told he was a great warrior who was lost when Tristram fell to the demons.
Alright, so Leah was just talking about her mom and her dad, Aiden, who was supposedly basically the character that you play in Diablo 3, in Diablo 1, the person who ultimately ended up defeating Diablo in that scenario. I believe that's correct. But anyway, we are now heading towards Adria's hut. Yep, there it is over here. In the ruins of Old Tristram.
Look, a hidden cellar. Follow me.
There are dark secrets here.
People said she was a witch, but I never believed it.
Alright, so that gives us a little bit more about Adria and the fact that people all thought that she was a witch. And looking at her cellar and her cauldron and everything and things, it's pretty damning evidence, I think. I mean, how many people keep cauldrons in a secret cellar under their house, right? Alright, so we just defeated Captain Dalton, or the skeletal remains thereof.
Here's the key.
And now, Leah, I'm talking over this part just because you can read the text on it. And basically, we're going to be sent to the old cathedral ahead of Leah to find Uncle Deckard.
Thank you.
Aiden came to me last night. I suspected what was lurking within his troubled heart. I consoled him as best I could. Regardless, wherever he's headed, hell will surely follow in his wake. The shadows close in on Tristram once again, but like Aiden, I'll be gone before they fall.
Alright, so that was a entry from Adria's journal, and she was obviously giving a little bit give us a little bit more background on her. And now we're continuing to talk to Leah and just kind of get a little bit more information about a couple of different items and things. Anytime a character in the game has a blue asterisk over their head, that means that they've got information to share. And so, even though I'm talking over this stuff, I mean, you can always pause and read the bits of text if you want to just kind of give a little bit more context to the story. Because I personally, one of the reasons I enjoyed this game, not only just because it's a fun game to play and there's a lot of action, but I really like the storyline. And I just want to make sure that if anyone else who's watching this enjoys the storylines, that you can get the context from these various dialogues that people provide. And so if you don't enjoy that part, just fast forward, skip ahead. But I'm just providing that context because it's one of the reasons I like role-playing games in the first place, is because they have a lot of really good story to them. So anyhow, so now comes the action. There's a lot of action between us and finding Uncle Deckard. Hold on to your hats. Just kidding. Alright, so that point right there, I had to step away from my computer, so I had to cut out some footage of me just standing around doing absolutely nothing. Alright, so going forward, also we picked up a magic belt. It's exactly the same as the one, it's the same one that she has, so it took me a while to kind of look at it and things. And there's more dead people here, but yep, I had a feeling that there was going to be some undead crawling up out of that hole. And there actually used to be you could actually climb down in there and get additional treasure and stuff. Oops, and we're level 5. Yay! So we now have a new attack. So instead of the shield bash, we can replace it with what's called a sweep attack. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. It's one of the skills, secondary, and there's the sweep attack. So anytime I get a new skill, I like to try it for a while and see if I like it. If I decide I don't like it, then I'll switch back to the other skill. So it just depends. You can basically pick and choose your skills as you level up and earn additional skills and things over time. And then, I mean, it's actually like if I go all the way to the top level and ultimately end up, you know, like the top level skill that I've earned isn't always necessarily the best skill for the situation. And so, you know, going back to like the shield bash, which is the first one you get, may or may not be the right skill to get. It really depends on the situation sometimes. And, you know, especially if you're playing at a harder level. I'm playing on normal, so normal is super easy. Anyone can play normal and get through it with, you know, hardly any problems whatsoever. But if you play at any of the harder levels, sometimes you really have to be strategic about which skills you're using for which battles. And sometimes it's a learning process. Like the current skills that defeated one boss may not defeat the next one, and so you learn that over time.
Patience.
Oop, and there's a treasure goblin. I'm gonna get rid of these. These are semi-elite, mini-bossy kind of people. They usually come in packs of 3 to 4, and they usually glow in a particular color. Some are glow blue, some glow yellow, some glow orange. But first we gotta get the treasure goblin, because he always has good stuff in his pack. And he's always dropping gold along the way. There we go. Ooh, there's a nice weapon in there. And I have a habit, I don't really need to pick up health globes if I'm at full health, because it doesn't do anything, but I'm kind of obsessive about picking up everything that gets dropped. So if I drop my shield, I have a two-handed weapon specifically designed for Crusaders. And it packs a wallop. Well, I kind of like doing higher damage, and so sometimes I'm willing to get rid of the shield and be a little bit more vulnerable. Especially when I'm playing normal. At normal, it's okay to do that. I bet you this would probably not be a smart decision if I was playing at one of the harder levels. And that's the nice thing, is you can play the whole thing on normal, and then, you know, once you get a feel for the game, you can then switch it out, and instead of playing on normal, you can then play on you know, they renamed all of the difficulties, so I'm not going to try and remember what the new difficulty levels are called, but there's, I think, a total of 5 difficulty levels. And so, like, you master the one difficulty level, and then you can go replay the whole game at the next difficulty level, that kind of thing, if that's your kind of thing that you're interested in. Some people don't like doing that, some people just like doing the easy levels, and some people prefer the hard levels. And of course there's always the hardcore players, and you can actually create the character specifically that's hardcore. So it's not a level thing, it's a per character thing. And if you create a hardcore character, if they die, that's it. They're dead. Permanently.
My name is Lochdannen, and I'm cursed. Once the captain of King Leoric's army, I lived only to honor my land and my king. No man has a greater love for his king than I had for mine, even as I drove my blade through his dark and corrupted heart.
Alright, so that was the first of 4 of Lochdannen's journals that we come across in this dungeon, and it gives us a little bit of perspective on King Leoric, which is going to be one of the sequences we do with, I think it's going to be the next episode. So this episode is basically looking for Uncle Deckard, and if he's still alive, trying to rescue him. And then with the next episode, we will be going after the Skeleton King, which is the remains of King Leoric. Oh yeah, I was just checking out the fact that my shield glare doesn't work, and it's like, oh right, because I don't have a shield equipped anymore. So that particular spell doesn't work, And I have to wait to level 8 to get to the next skill that I can have on key number 1. Alright, so we're just kind of running around, getting nicely lost in these dungeons. You can't get permanently lost in these, but you can certainly run around for a long time sometimes. And there's plenty of grossly disgusting monsters to defeat throughout the entire game. Alright, so we have this chest, treasure chest over here. Let's see if there's anything interesting. And that says a new sash. Huh, it gives me a few boosts, so I'm gonna put that on. Yep, gives me monster kill points. Alright. So I do, I think I mentioned this the first episode, is I do like to explore every nook and cranny. Because you know, storyline and then exploration are two things that I really enjoy, and it's one of the reasons I really like RPG games is just because you get to do all this exploration and you get to do all this stuff.
It was Lazarus. Of that I am certain. He alone had the king's ear and whispered dark and evil magics into it, instilling the notion of an imminent attack by Westmarch. Afraid to speak against the Archbishop, the councillors nodded their empty heads in agreement and sent us off to die.
Alright, so there's the second journal from Lochdannen and a little bit more insight into Leoric and what was going on with him. And that a lot of that is just kind of going back to Diablo 1 and things, which I actually never played. I tried to play it after getting Diablo 3. I got a copy that I downloaded, and just my Windows 7 computer couldn't take it, couldn't play it, because it was originally a DOS-based game, and I got one. I think it was designed to be. It was updated to play on XP, but Windows 7 just couldn't handle it. It kept crashing all the time. So I have yet to play the original classic Diablo 1. And if you just notice that little glitch and the fact that the mini-map looks different all of a sudden... Oh, and finally hit level 6. My game actually crashed, and I had to replay this entire level up until this point, and then I just edited out all that stuff because no point to that. I just got it back to the point where more scrolls of Lochdannen, so we get more context.
When we returned from our horrific defeat in Westmarch, my beloved king lost all pretense of sanity. He seethed with rage, spitting curses upon us as traitors. With great sorrow, I ran him through.
Alright, so that was the third one. So, yes, it was crazy. The game just completely shut down on me. I was having a graphics card error. I think I need a new graphics card. And so I had to rerun all the way from Adria's hut all the way back to that point, which was kind of annoying, unfortunately, but I was able to at least edit out some things. I just picked up a orange item. Those are elite items, or legendary, sorry. And it's a legendary crafting material. So those are things that the craftsmen in town can use to craft things for you if you like doing that. And since the auction house doesn't exist anymore, you kind of have to rely on them a little bit. Ooh, and a black mushroom. Black mushrooms are items that you can collect. Well, black mushroom is one of many weird items you can collect that allow you to access Whimsyshire. Go Google that, Whimsyshire Diablo 3. It'll tell you everything you need to know about that. Oh, and another...
I will forever live in anguish for my last attempt to honor my king. As we lay him to rest in his burial chamber, he manifested as a hideous skeletal demon. Gorash and my other knights were overcome at once, but I fought on.
Alright, so that's the last of the Lochdannen journals. And that'll give us some context for next week's episode, where I will actually face King Leoric or the Skeleton Kings. So that'll be handy. But we should be finding our passage to the next level of the dungeon somewhat soon, sort of. We'll see. Plenty of monsters still to kill, I guess. But yeah, the whole storyline, I think, I think they did a really good job with the storyline, and I do enjoy all that. And the gameplay, now that the the first expansion is out, because I am playing the Reaper of Souls expansion, and this is the newest class in that expansion. So Crusader class didn't exist when Diablo 3 first came out, and I think a lot of the gameplay and changes that they've made since launching the expansion has been good. Getting rid of the auction house was probably a smart move. Although now you have to rely on your crafters a lot more. In fact, because of the auction house, the crafters that you could use in game were practically pointless, because you could actually find better deals sometimes through the auction house, and you could actually get a lot of gold through the just by auctioning things. In fact, that was one of the best ways to get more gold, was to just auction things that you found that you didn't need yourself. And now, instead of auctioning, here's the Ark's Passage, and there's Uncle Deckard.
May this ledge hold. The Skeleton King.
The power of the fallen star awakened me, and soon all will suffer as I have suffered. Gods, bring me his bones!
Alright, so poor Uncle Deckard is still alive and being attacked by big skeleton monsters. And thankfully, I'm able to distract them and have them attack me instead, because I don't think the old guy could last very long with these guys attacking him. Alright, more guys coming, and one elite named Dark-Hand Headcleaver. Got rid of him. Okay, and here is Mr. Uncle Deckard, and we just kind of explained to him this is why we rescued him, and he's got a little secret passage over here that gives us a way out of the dungeons, and an easier way back in as well later on. So that's a little shortcut. And we get to go back to New Tristram to turn in the quest and kind of figure out what's to do next.
I rescued the old scholar and learned from him that a creature called the Skeleton King stands between me and the star, but not for long.
All right. So that's the part. Every time we kind of finish a big chapter of the storyline. I mean, this isn't the big chapter, but the little mini chapters within each chapter, because there's 5 big chapters in the story itself. And we kind of get a little summary from the character that we're playing, and in this case we're getting everything from the perspective of a crusader. Whatever class you play, that's the perspective you get from. And here we're turning in the quest, and we're getting some more information, and we get a nice shield, although we now have a 2-handed thing, so Alright, so for those of you who are still watching, are you interested in more backstory? I'm not including it in this episode, but I could talk to Leah and get more information. She's got an asterisk over her head. If you want me to include that in the next episode before we go off after the Skeleton King, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will leave it out. Thanks so much for joining me this week, and look forward to next week and the defeat of the Skeleton King. Take care.